Hi, my name is Mike Weyers, and today I will take a quick peek at some of the projects that you can undertake in community work. This overview is based on the typology contained in Table 3.6 of my book, The Theory and Practice of Community Work, a Southern African Perspective. I will now hand you over to my avatar of voice friends who will explain it in a little more detail.
Community work programs and projects can take on such a wide range of forms as well as target such diverse categories of people that you might sometimes be at a loss to which ones to choose. In order to provide some guidance in this regard, a typology of potential community work programs and projects have been developed. This typology could be used as a basket of services from which you can choose an appropriate intervention as well as an indicator of the types of community work services that could be undertaken. In the typology, two types of criteria are used as a structuring mechanism. The first is the potential participants or recipients of services that will be targeted. And the second is the type of services that could be delivered. In the demarcation of participants or recipients, a 6-category classification is used. It covers 1. The family and life cycle. 2. Women. 3. People with disabilities. 4. People with special needs and problems, for example mental health, substance abuse, offenders, and people with chronic illnesses such as HIV and AIDS. 5. General community development projects. And 6. Generic programs and projects. Three criteria are used to divide the services into subcategories. They are empowerment and proactive services. These are services that aim to build the capacity of individuals, groups and communities, or at preventing impediments from occurring. Secondly, community-based interventions and reactive services. They entail services that deal with impediments that already exist in the community, but for which residential facilities are not prerequisites. These services are mostly of a therapeutic, remedial or educational nature. In this case, the purpose of community work would either be to establish a new service, or to improve and extend existing services. And thirdly, infrastructure building and related services. They entail services that deal with impediments that already exist in the community and for which specialized infrastructure would be a prerequisite. In this context, infrastructure refers to anything physical or material such as buildings, land, roads, water, and food. For the purposes of the classification, projects aimed at the establishment or improvement of general infrastructure, residential facilities and related services would be included in this category. Now, let's take a closer look at Table 3.6. A typology of community work programs and projects.
Category 1 covers the family and life cycle. It includes Category 1.1, families and children, Category 1.2, the youth, and Category 1.3, the aged. Typical empowerment and proactive services and projects aimed at families and children will include marriage preparation services, parental skills development, and life skills and social skills training of children. As these examples indicate, the projects are not aimed at addressing social problems as such. It is, rather, aimed at building their capacity to function even better, and in that way, prevent social problems from occurring in the first place. Typical community-based intervention and reactive services aimed at families and children will include adoption services, divorce counseling and mediation, foster care services, and services to street children. As these examples indicate, some form of social problem is present and needs to be addressed through social work services. The basic task of the community worker would be to create such services where they are lacking. Typical infrastructure building and related services aimed at families and children will include the creation of youth and child care centers, shelters for abused women and street children, and drop-in centers. These examples, again, indicate that some form of social problem is present and that it would be the community worker's task to create or improve services.
At this stage you should have a pretty good idea of how the typology works. The same principle would apply to other target groups and subgroups. These range from the youth to people living with AIDS. In the case of Category 5, General Community Development, we move away from the more focused social work field, to the broad community development field. In this category, empowerment could entail life enrichment, relationship skills related, and financial skills related projects. In the case of community-based interventions, the focus would be on a wide range of guidance and educational services. And finally, infrastructure building could cover a wide range of income generating, housing, water and sanitation, and food-related projects. The final category, that is Category 6, covers generic community work programs and projects. These are the projects that cut across all the other categories and can be used in all of them. These range from funding and fundraising projects to social action, the mobilizing of action committees and other action systems to marketing projects, and the mobilization of self-help groups to training services. And finally, it should first be noted that the typology does not contain all possible services, programs and projects. It, hopefully, does provide you with some ideas for the type of interventions that you could choose. Secondly, both the categories and the potential projects are not mutually exclusive. They could, therefore, be combined in various ways in order to deal with the unique circumstances and impediments of each community. From my side, all the best with converting the ideas as contained in the typology into practice. And most of all, go out there and make a difference.